Now, in order for a woman to love and respect you, okay, women want you to tell them what you don't like about them. Say that with me one more time so this sinks in. Women want you to tell them what you do not like about them, regardless of her beauty, regardless of how attracted that you are to her, because this is the only thing that she can look up to and respect. And this is going to be the only way that you can maintain attraction and chemistry so she continues to want you on a deep level. This video is so important, so stick with me. Now, after today's video is over, be sure to go down below, you hit the link in the description, you check out the MBT Masculine Behavioral Technique full-length presentation that I put together for you. It's going to show you the 3 secrets to masculine behavioral techniques so that way you can get dating results at an even quicker pace. And this presentation alone that I have in the description will totally transform your life. Let's dive in. Now, this video is going to be a total game changer because this exposes female nature at a deep level so that way you can actually have strategies that 99% of guys don't have. So I titled this video, okay, women want you to tell them what you don't like about them. And the reason why you have to understand this is we live in a world where men are so sold on a woman's beauty that she never experiences this, and the perception that she has of love towards a man is far different than the perception that you have of love towards a woman. And I'm going to explain this, okay? Women fall in love with a man's personality, which means the inside. Okay, I know this is a shock to a lot of you guys who just look at a chick and you think, oh, she's either hot or she isn't. Oh, I'd either tap that or I wouldn't. Women don't operate like that. I know this is crazy for you guys to think, but when women are on a date with you, they're actually listening to the words you're saying and the conversations that you're having, right? She's not just sitting there thinking, man, how can we get to the bedroom as quick as possible, like a lot of guys think. So women, okay, you have to know this. Women fall in love with a man's personality on the inside. So that means women look at the person as a whole. Now, you might think that this is weird or this is lame or this doesn't apply to you, but you got to understand this is a man's greatest superpower. Like, I want to add emphasis to this because men don't understand how powerful their personality is if they learn how to use their charisma and their seduction to raise a woman's buy-in temperature. Well, a woman is looking at who you are. A woman is looking at the internal guts of the man, the strength of that man, how that man can make her feel. So here's what I can tell you. A man's greatest superpower is that a man can raise a woman's interest. Okay, she might be walking down the street and you're not super tall, you're not super good looking, but if you get that 20 to 30 second window of opportunity where you say the right shit, where the right shit that comes out of your mouth is not only smooth, but it fits who you are and her perception of you, and it makes her feel something. A man can raise a woman's interest. Most men don't understand how powerful this is because men can be something. As a man becomes something, okay, look at anything. Look at status, look at crushing it in your career, look at your professional life, look at fame, look at whatever the hell you want to label it as. In order to become something, you got to learn some shit. Right? Like, in order to get somewhere in life, you had to grow skills. As you grow those skills, you become a deeper level individual. So you got to understand there's depth to you then. Women like that depth. They like when they can look at a man and they can see like there's something there is something different. That depth, that added complexity where she has to figure him out slowly, page by page. You got to understand, this is what raises a woman's interest to where she's hooked into love. Not only that, men can hook a woman's emotions through words. This is something that a woman really can't do to us. We can increase our seduction. We can increase our charisma. We can do things as a man to make a woman love us. Okay, glad we got that out of the way because this is your greatest fucking superpower. Not your fucking bank balance, not your muscles, not your biceps, and not none of that shit. Okay, this right here alone is it. This is the thing. Okay, now that you know that that's the thing, here's what I'm gonna tell you. Here's why this is a man's greatest superpower. The reason why that, like, you might be sitting here wondering, you hear this, you think, well, Casey, why is that why is that a man's greatest superpower? Why is it not how tall I am, how good looking I am, how much money I make? Why is this right here, the person as a whole, and getting her to fall in love, okay, with the personality, why is that a man's greatest superpower? If you're asking that, congrats, because you asked a great question. The answer to this is it's because this is the only lens a woman can see the world through. A woman can only see the world through her own lens, which means she's observing the world through the eyes of a female. If you know this and you understand this, you can use this to your advantage for 3 specific reasons. Here's the first 3, here are each of the reasons. The first reason why this is a massive advantage is because they assume, like, here's what a lot of you guys don't understand. A lot of you guys think that, like, you think that men are so blind to female nature and they're so hard and complex to figure out. You gotta understand, a lot of women, most women are blind to male nature. Women don't necessarily understand the way we see the world either. So here's what I mean by that. The reason why this is your greatest superpower, the first reason, is because they assume that you perceive love and attraction the way that they do. They believe on these dates, you oftentimes too are looking past the beauty, and she wants to be looked at past the beauty. They think that you're like, you have bigger level qualifications, which most men truthfully don't. This is why I'm going to explain this, how you can use this to your advantage. They assume, the first reason is they assume that you perceive love and attraction how they do. Okay, this is number one. The second reason why this is your greatest superpower is because they assume you see the world how they do. Because this is the only lens that they can see it through, is through the pink kaleidoscope. They don't see it through the blue kaleidoscope like you do. Okay, there's a difference. That's number two. They assume you see the world how they do. And the third reason is because deep down they are envious that they can't. They are envious that they can't see the world through your lens. Because at the same time as you don't know what she's always thinking, at the same time she doesn't know what you're always thinking. This is your leverage and this is your superpower. This is why a man's personality is his greatest asset, to have the charisma to raise a woman's interest. And here's what I mean by this. Okay? A man can be a 6 to a woman. Like seriously, a man can be a 6 to a woman walking down the shopping mall, walking down the street, going to a bar, at a club, or at a restaurant. She meets him. Okay, a man can be a 6 to a woman and become a lovable 10 to her. Now, underline the words to her, because you got to understand it. When I say a lovable 10 to her, you got to be a man who's worth loving. Which means if you're a man who's worth loving, all of a sudden she looks past the flaws. She doesn't even see them. The second you hook a woman's heart, your flaws oftentimes become invisible to her. It's like you have her so emotionally wrapped and so emotionally invested, you can do no wrong at that point. So a man can raise a woman's interest. A 6 to a woman can become a lovable 10 to her. Okay? This is a superpower. Now, here's what, like, there's an opposite side to this. A woman can't. A woman can't do this. You can. This is why it's your greatest superpower. This is your greatest superpower as a man, is to be able to do these things, to raise a woman's interest. It is very hard for a woman to do that, or damn near impossible, because men judge based off sex appeal and beauty. So most women don't know this about men. Most women can only see the world through their lens, so they assume you look at things the same way they do. They don't understand that there's a duality going on. Now, if you can understand this is the prerequisite, you might be sitting here wondering, well, Casey, why would women want you to tell them what you don't like about them? I'm going to explain. Now, women in all ways, shapes, and forms want to be fixers in a relationship when they're dating a guy. They want to fix problems. This is naturally bringing out a woman's feminine intuition. This is naturally bringing out a woman's feminine nurturing spirit. Okay, this is why when you as a man try to fix her emotions if she feels negative energy, this is why if you as a man are trying to fix things in a relationship, it is the quickest way to dissolve it, because you've completely moved into your feminine energy. Women despise men who will oftentimes try to fix their own circumstances and situations. Women want to be the fixers in relationships. This is when she feels most feminine. Not only that, this is why she creates tension in relationships. She is forced to create tension because you provide zero tension. Since you provide zero tension, therefore she has nothing to fix, because you're sold on her alone. You're sold on her physical. You are sold on her beauty. You are sold on her sex appeal. You are sold on the shape of her physique. You are sold on how she looks. Okay? Women aren't sold on those things. Men oftentimes fall in love with the external. Women fall in love with the internal. This is why you have to understand how to leverage your personality and your charisma and your swag and your confidence and your sex appeal to actually master the ability to have women want to keep coming back and seeing you for an extended period of time, not just 1 or 2 dates. Okay? This is extremely important to understand. You provide zero tension and you're naturally happy-go-lucky and consistently just sold on her alone. She hates this because now she has nothing to fix. Since she has nothing to fix, since you're 100% sold on her 24/7, she naturally will pull back. She naturally becomes distant. She naturally will create that tension. And see, the things that I'm about to tell you, this is going to be very foreign to men, because men oftentimes don't engage into relationships with women we don't like. Meaning we opt into relationships hoping everything stays the same as when I met this girl from day one. So you think, why would I want to nitpick things about her personality? Why would I want to tell her things that I want her to improve on? Why in the hell would I want to tell a woman, okay, what I don't like about them? Why would I want to do that? I understand that that sounds foreign. Stick with me because this is going to make sense, okay? I understand that these are foreign things to do, but you have to do them because she wants to be led. And if you're not necessarily doing those things and giving her aspects or elements of the relationship or these interactions to improve on, you are not leading her. Okay, she wants to be led in every way, shape, and form. And then that involves emotionally. The man who can lead her emotions is the guy that she stays up at night thinking about. So you provide zero tension, therefore she has nothing to fix. Since she has nothing to fix, here's what happens. Therefore, she must create the tension because you don't create any. Since you don't create any, okay, here's what happens. She starts to pull back and become distant. So the biggest question that I want to ask you right now is, what do girls do that you date for a long time? Right now, I want you to close your eyes, shut your eyes with me. I want you to think about every single relationship you've had with a woman that has went on anywhere from like an extended long-term relationship or a girlfriend. Every woman that you've seen on a consistent basis more than just 1 or 2 times. What tends to happen? Okay, the girls that you've dated, what happens? The first thing that happens is they say things eventually that they don't like about you. Okay, that's first. They will start to nitpick, they will nag, they will become bitchy. They start to display behavior where you start to question yourself and you say, well, why doesn't she like me like she did day one? What they're going to start to do is they start to comment on things that they don't like. This is why I'm telling you, women fall in love with the person, the personality. If you don't naturally create this tension, she starts to do it, and I'm going to show you why. The second thing that you have to understand about every single relationship you've probably ever had is you will notice that they find reasons to disqualify you. They find reasons to not want to have sex with you. They find reasons to want to break up. They find reasons to not text you back. They find reasons to start arguments and convince you that it's your fault. They find reasons to use manipulative behavior so that way you think there's issues going on when in actuality there isn't. Stick with me on this. Women find flaws. Since women find flaws, here's what you got to understand. Most men just sit there and take it. And the reason why they take it goes back to my original point. Men do not opt into relationships with women that we don't naturally like. It's not in our nature to sit there and find flaws with things because we wouldn't have got into the situation in the first place. This is reverse to how women act and how women operate. Women naturally look for disqualification metrics. Women naturally look for flaws. Women naturally look for tension and chaos so they have something to emotionally stimulate them. Stick with me on this. Most men just sit there and take it. They take that heat that she's throwing at him. In actuality, deep down, she wants you to throw it back at her. And I'm going to explain why she wants you to throw it back at her. Okay, I'm going to read this to you word for word. She wants to be pushed back into her feminine, striving for your approval. She wants you to be able to say, well, you know what? I don't like this about you. And you know what? I don't care how pretty you are, how pretty you think you are. I don't like this, this, and this as well. And you know what? I'm on the rough too, thinking that I don't know if you're for me. She wants you to never be fully sold on her. Women oftentimes want you to leave them. Women oftentimes want you to push them away. Stick with me on this and read this one more time. She wants to be pushed back into her feminine, striving for your approval. Most men don't do this. Most men just sit there and they go, yes, dear, okay, I can do better. Yep, didn't know you didn't like that. Baby, baby, let me make it up to you. That's the quickest way for her to look at you like a pansy ass. So when you actually look at this at a deep level, they want something to work for. These women want something to work for, to strive for. And that thing that they're striving for 24/7 is your approval. Okay, they want to know, like they are striving towards a level of mastery because they want to fix things in relationships. The most important thing to a woman in her life, the most important thing is her relationship with her man. That is the most important thing in a woman's life. That is the thing she thinks about. That's the thing that she wants to fix. That's the thing that but notice, she needs something to fix. She wants to fix that. She wants to get to level 10 out of 10 mastery with that. But to get to a level 10 out of 10 mastery, she needs something to nurture. The roles have been reversed where oftentimes men are constantly the ones doing the nurturing. This is not how it needs to be. In fact, it cannot be that way. If it is that way, she will dissolve the relationship. They want something to work for, which means ultimately they want to try to meet your standard. Not her standard, your standard. If she needs to meet your standard, okay, that means you need to have one in the first place. Most men have no standard. And this is where men get confused, because men oftentimes fall in love through beauty. Men fall in love through the physical. So the first thing we think on these dates and these interactions is we're not looking at finding standards based off morals, principles, personality traits, and characteristics of the girl. Because the truth is, most men don't care. You have to train yourself to understand how to get dating success, especially in today's world. You have to start to understand that your natural male intuition and the way you logistically think through situations is going to lead you wrong when you're dealing with women. This is the hardest thing for guys to understand, is that the way you think it should be, the way that it feels correct, is going to lead you astray. These are things that you have to train. These are things that you have to encompass, okay? And I've seen guys at every level, every step, like don't think that anyone's immune to this. Every guy at every level, it doesn't matter if you're a celebrity, it doesn't matter if you make $20 million a month, oftentimes you will see men at every level not understand these things. So don't beat yourself up. You gotta know this though. Most men don't have a standard. Since most men don't have a standard, well, guess what? She's consistently looking for chaos and tension, so that way eventually she's hoping you have one. So guess what? Now she's content striving for your approval once you have a standard, once you're able to say what you don't like about them. So I want you to picture the prettiest model that you've ever seen. Okay, curves in all the right places, beautiful hair, whatever the case may be. Picture your dream 10 out of 10. That guy who can actually call her out on bullshit and say things he does not like, now she starts to become content being in a relationship with him, because now she has the ability to now strive for his approval. He's willing to set a standard. So she feels like she had to win you over via personality, not beauty. Read that with me one more time. Now what happens when you start to actually say things you don't like about a woman? She feels like she had to win you over via personality, not beauty. This is what she wants. Women know that when they walk down a street or a shopping mall, men are checking them out on the physical. See, she doesn't like this because this isn't how she falls in love. Notice, this is what I told you in the beginning. Women only know the way of the world through which they see through their own lens. She naturally thinks that the way you perceive love is icky. She naturally thinks that the way you perceive love, just because it's the way that your masculine brain works, she naturally thinks that's bad. Whether it is or it isn't is irrelevant. That's what she thinks. She thinks the way you perceive love is incorrect. She thinks the way you perceive love is icky. She thinks the way that you perceive love is how it shouldn't be. And guess what? She thinks the way she perceives love is correct by default just because she's the girl. Okay, let her think that, and here's why. She assumes you love the way that they do. Now here's what I can tell you, so be it. Just put that to the side and let that be. Because we don't view love that way, and men probably never will, and that's not how men are wired. But guess what? We don't view love that way, but who gives a fuck? Because now that you know this, just use this to your advantage. And what I mean by that is this is why all the hottest girls are single. Is because men are constantly qualifying them based off their beauty. They're pre-sold. Men will automatically fall in love based off of a woman's beauty. She thinks this is incorrect. She thinks this is icky. She thinks this is bad because the only way that she can see the world is through her own lens. Well, okay, so be it. Two can play at that game. If you want dating success, accept this. So who gives a fuck? Just use this to your advantage. This is why all the hottest women are single. And truthfully, if you know this, you can clean up. Like, I'm gonna be truthful with you. If you know these things, you know how to work your personality, you know how to be a seductive man, you know how to be charismatic, to make her feel certain things, you can clean up. I'm being dead serious. Your dating life will be very, very easy. So, telling women what you dislike about them, what does this do? This does a beautiful thing. This satisfies hypergamy because it shows that you are up here. You're satisfying hypergamy because you have enough swag, enough confidence, enough bravado, if you will, to have a standard. This makes it so she is chasing your approval. This satisfies hypergamy, not your bank balance and not your brand new Corvette or your brand new Maserati. This satisfies hypergamy. You keep her in check. This shows that you have a higher sexual market value. A lot of guys want to know, well, how do you keep a woman in check? How do you do these things so she wants to stay following your lead? You do it by telling things that you don't like about them. And then she needs to know there's consequences if she doesn't actually follow that, meaning that she's not going to be involved in your life. That's how you do it. She sees that you're not booty whipped if you're able to do this. So if you can tell a feminine dime that you're dating who's 10 out of 10 beauty to you, okay? If you're able to, like, put a frame around these things like, hey, I dislike this about you as an individual. And you're able to say this as an individual. See, as a person, not just like the exterior, not just what she looks like, as a person, as an individual. I'm stressing this because men don't look, you're not gonna naturally look at women this way. I'm training you to do it this way because what's going to happen is that since this stuff is so foreign to men, I'm trying to teach you this because if you go with your logistical brain, if you do with what your intuition tells you is right in these instances, you're gonna get your ass handed to you and you're not gonna be able to keep the women that you want. So like I stress words like the individual, the personality, who you are on the inside. I try to add emphasis to these words because I'm trying to get you to look at a woman not just as like lust and beauty. Because if the second you do that is the fastest way you dissolve those relationships because she sees your booty whip. She sees you care about the one thing that she doesn't. And to a woman, sex doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot because she can get that from any guy at any time. Women are looking at the interior of a man. So, I hope I stressed that enough, okay? If you're able to say things like, I think you need to improve on this, and I want you to do better. Well, even just think how like confident that even sounds. Like how much power does that give you, even having the balls to say that? I think you need to improve on this to do better. I want you to do better. Well, A, that sounds like you have a bit of authority in the relationship. It sounds like you maybe have a bit of power over what you have when it comes to your own standards. That's gonna show big balls. This is important. The reason why this is important is because she wants to be led. Now, this doesn't just mean led in the bedroom. This doesn't just mean led where you create a stable environment in your household and you pay for everything. She wants to be led emotionally. This is the only way to do it, is to have qualifications and standards that she needs to meet. The more she meets those standards, the more she seeks your approval, the more she falls in love with you. Don't get mad at me, I'm just the messenger. This is just how it works. So 99% of women have no idea what this feels like. They have no idea what it feels like to actually have to work for a man's approval because most men are won over super easy. They don't know what this feels like. If they did know what this feels like, if they did have to consistently do this, they would be wet. They would be wet for that guy 24/7 because this is what she's looking for in a relationship. This right here is why, okay, women want you to tell them what you don't like about them. You have to do this. If you like this video, I want you to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.